you've seen my last video, you know I'm wearing the same pajamas. So essentially we have a week left of June, and I still have 4 books left on my TBR plus this extra one that I had in like April that I didn't pick up. So the goal this week is to try to get through as many of these books as I possibly can. Um, I'm a little nervous because I'm going to have to read all of these like physically because I don't have access to the audio or digital copy of the book. So like there's a wait list a mile long. So I'm not, relying on that. So I have one more week of work through the month of June, and I am going to try to read through these because it's going to be mainly testing this week, and I'm only testing one of the 3 days. So I'll be out in the hallway being a monitor. So I'll be able to like sit and possibly read. I'm not entirely sure based on like what's going on. But let's talk about the books that we have. Let me get them out. So our first one is What Happens in Amsterdam. This was my nail selection for the month of May. I was looking forward to reading this, but by the time that I got it, it was just like, oh, I'll just put it on my shelf. But it's not too long. It's only like 340 pages. Yeah, 337 pages. So it's not too bad. Again, Too Hot to Handle is one that I read last week for my TBR, and that was 300 and something, and I read it in a day. I can foresee myself reading this pretty quickly. So we have What Happens in Amsterdam by Rachel Lynn Solomon. Excited for that one. We have the Thursday Murder Club, which I picked up on a whim because I heard a lot of people saying that it was really good, and I wanted to try out the first book before I get the rest of the series. So this is written by Richard Osman, who I can't remember what he has been on. I know he's on a few like game shows in the UK. I don't know if they're still going, but I know his face. But what is he from? I don't know. You know? Does it say? There's nothing like, oh, about the author. Because there's a reader's guide with questions. He's a television personality, quiz genius, and brilliant comic writer. So, yes, TV personality guy. But I am excited to read this. It'll be a little bit different. I'm excited. Then we have Sanditon and Other Tales by Jane Austen. These are the lesser known stories by Jane Austen. I don't remember if it was finished. It was written in the last months of her life and was left unfinished by the time of her death in 1817. Set in a seaside town, it's an amusing tale of hypochondriacs mixed in with family drama and a whiff of romance. And then we have Lady Susan, which is a series of letters of a cunning coquette whose shenanigans display a lack of regard for anyone, even her own daughter. And then another unfinished work is The Watsons. Follows the young and spirited Emma Watson as she wades through the shallow social pastime of husband hunting and search for true love. So it's 3 short stories. I am excited. It is one of her smaller books that I have. Again, I'm trying to read through her entire collection that I own, which I had a box set. So this is, I think, book 4 or 5 of hers that I have read this year. And then we have Love in the Time of Serial Killers by Alicia Thompson. I tried so hard to find this on audio or digitally, but I could not find it. But this follows Phoebe Walsh and Sam Dennings. Phoebe is a PhD candidate who is obsessed with true crime, of course. It's part of her dissertation. She spends the summer in Florida cleaning out her childhood home, dealing with her obnoxious, good-natured younger brother, and grappling with complicated feelings of mourning her father, who she didn't have a relationship. she's convinced that her neighbor Sam is a serial killer, but it's unfounded. So it kind of goes through her suspicion of him and like their relationship. So I am excited for this. Again, shouldn't be too bad. It's only, again, 330 pages, 340 pages. So we got some short books. These are all books that I could potentially read if I finish with these. Hello, sorry. If I finish with these 4 books this week before Saturday, then I'm going to try to pick up Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies. I got about 3 chapters in. It was very barely in this book. So that's if I finish these 4 books, which again is very possible if I like stick to it. I don't want to get into a reading slump. I don't want to carry these into July. I want to pick a brand new TBR because this is from May and I still haven't read them. So I am looking forward. I think I'm going to start with Love in the Time of Serial Killers just because it's calling to me more. And we'll see. Hopefully I can finish this book. I would like to be able to finish it today, but I have to do a little bit of editing, a little bit of laundry, a little bit of getting things ready for my last week of work. So I will check in with y'all later. Okay, so I'm taking me a little lunch break because it's like 2 o'clock. But I wanted to give a quick update. I'm not quite halfway. I am 30-ish% through with Love in the Time of Serial Killers. I'm enjoying it. I am doing reading sprints, looking at an old reading sprint video that Gavin from Gavin Reads It All did. But I just want to point out my bookmark for today is Blood Splatter with the thriller reader kind of tarot card vibe. And it's really cute and it matches the vibe that we're going with. Obviously, there's no like, it's not, why am I so close to my face? I'm so sorry. It's not like murder is happening. She is like completing her dissertation over serial killers and true crime as a genre. So it just fits the vibe of the book. So I'm going to eat my sketty, continue watching the reading sprint, and then maybe check in at the 50% mark if I remember. But the next sprint I probably will end up getting past the 50%. So we'll just go to the after mark. I'll see y'all a little bit. Bye. You're getting a different angle of me today. I am about 64% done with this book. Oh, chef's kiss. Loving it. Again, this follows Phoebe as she is dealing with her father's death and like the house that was left to her and her brother. And she has some suspicions about the neighbor next door at the beginning that are really unfounded, but she spends her time working on her dissertation about true crime. So it makes sense that her brain is always on crime. And they happen to meet for the first time at like 2 o'clock in the morning outside of her father's house, so it's great. But she is dealing with some things for herself about like what's next in her future when she finishes her dissertation, when she finishes with school, where is she gonna go? Because right now she's got school in North Carolina, but she's currently living in Florida for the summer to deal with her father's house before they sell it. And they've been working on getting it like kind of put back together. But I only have like 120 pages left. This is all that's left, and I'm loving it so far. It's had me giggling. It's some pop culture references, and it's done in a really good way. It's not like cringy. Like I've read one where they mentioned the guy constantly describing him looking like Rhysand from Akatar, and so it's fine the first time, but when you keep doing it, it's really annoying. This one doesn't do that. They make some pop culture references, some political references, and I'm loving it. I'm loving it. So I am going to finish reading this. I've only been reading it for about 2 hours, and I'm 60-something% through. But I'm doing, again, the reading sprints with Gavin from Gavin Reads It All. This is an old video of his from like a month ago, but I just like his vibe, and so I'm just rewatching that, doing the sprints. They're in the midst of a little chit chat time right now, so I figured I'd come in and chit chat with y'all. I've gotten about 30% each time I've read, so I should finish within the next hour. So I am excited to finish this. I'm feeling good. I don't know if that just doomed me, but right now I'm feeling really good. I've been propping up my phone on this thingy whilst I've been reading. It was an interesting, I never read in bed because I can never get comfortable enough because I hate reading like this, but I've been able to find comfortable ways to read. And can we just talk about this bookmark? Again, we love, I showed you already, but goes with the whole serial killer vibe, and all that. So I'm excited. So I'm gonna keep reading, keep watching Gavin, and I will check in once this book is complete. I loved every minute of this book. Every minute. It's getting a 5-star for me, easily. So I'm trying to figure out like the best way to explain my thoughts and my feelings and all of that. So like I've mentioned before, this book follows Phoebe as she moves back to Florida for the summer to take care of some final things at her father's house because he recently passed away, and they're going to be getting the house ready to sell. Through that, she meets Sam. He is the next door neighbor. She believes at first that he is a serial killer, just because of interaction, the one interaction they had at the very beginning of the book, and a few others that she's like, I'm suspicious, but it's really just her mind creating things that aren't there. So her and Sam kind of form this relationship that is, there's obvious tension. We know, obviously we know it's a romance. We know they're going to end up together. It's just a matter of like, how are they going to end up together? And the way that Miss Alicia Thompson wrote this book I give her all the kudos. Again, I loved all the pop culture and like historical connections that she made. I am a sucker for true crime, so this was right up my alley, bringing in the true crime aspect of it into the romance aspect of it all. Love it. 10 out of 10. Chef's kiss. The romance itself was so sweet. I love Sam. I want Sam in my life. There were obvious like miscommunication things, but they were handled so well. It wasn't an insta love. It wasn't a I love you, now I hate you, now I love you again. It was very much like I'm not going to say like a natural relationship, because like all relationships are different, but it felt very natural to me. And I loved every second of it. So for the first book of this week, and I've read this all in one day, took a few sit downs and like breakups from having to do chores and stuff, but I enjoyed this book. I'm so glad that I picked this up first. I think because tomorrow is work and I really want to finish one book a day if possible, before Friday, and I only have 4 books, so it's doable if I like stick to it. I want to find something small for tomorrow, so I think I'm going to pick up Sanditon and Other Tales, because it is the smallest book in the collection that I have for this week to finish off my June TBR. So again, 5 out of 5. I loved every second of this. I cannot stop thinking about this. It deals with grief, kind of. I mean, the whole thing is about her going back to her father's house who just passed away, but it's also her relationship with her brother that's being kind of like healed, and they're like actually like moving through some things with each other. I love her brother and his girlfriend in this book. They are so sweet. He is definitely a golden retriever, and it's cracking me up. He's so precious. I love this book. I'm really glad that I picked this up, and I'm glad that it was so much better than I could have ever imagined. So I am going to go get ready for bed. It is still only like 7 o'clock, so I'm probably going to watch a few YouTube videos. But I'm going to get Sanditon ready to go in my bag so I can have that ready to go for tomorrow. So I will check in with y'all tomorrow. Okay, so I just got home from work. I was able to read one of these stories. Again, this is 3 short stories, 3 unfinished stories. I finished Sanditon. I really enjoyed this. I was really mad. I knew it wasn't finished, but I figured it would be a little bit further along than it was. So this follows Charlotte. So it follows the Sanditons. Okay. No, they're not the Sanditons, they're the Parkers. They are establishing the town of Sanditon, which is like a seaside town. They're wanting to use it as like kind of like the elite come and hang out and rest and get better, because it is like thought at that time, like the sea breeze, going to the water, things like that. The air in a seaside town will help you physically, any ailments, things like that. So
the Parkers, they at the very beginning, they break down, their carriage breaks down, and Mr. Parker gets hurt in the process. So he stays with the Heywoods, who are just an average couple in this town. They accidentally went to the wrong town. They were looking for a doctor in a different part of England. But it kind of all worked out because they made fast friends. They became besties in the 2 weeks that they are there. Once that 2 weeks is up, they take their eldest daughter, Charlotte, the Heywood's eldest daughter, Charlotte, with them to Sanditon, which the Heywoods really like because they want their children to be able to experience the world and not just settle in one place forever. So she goes with them. This follows, once they get there, the Parker's family, who, my God, Mr. Parker's family, his siblings were irritating the crap out of me because they are hypochondriacs. Anything that could go wrong is going wrong. They are all dying apparently, and the seaside will do nothing, but they end up going. They end up showing up at the seaside house in Sanditon, and instead of, opening the doors, opening the windows to see if that helps them, they close themselves off, turn the fire on. It's like, it's too damp outside. So again, they try to one-up each other. It's hilarious. They try to one-up each other on how sick they are. So it is believed that the main love interest of this will be Sydney, who is Mr. Parker's brother, one of his brothers, his oldest brother. He is the oldest, but the next oldest is Sydney. And I think he is the main love interest of the story. However, it ends before we really get to know who he is. There is a lot of flowery writing, and I know that she does it to emphasize, like, the person, because, like, Charlotte talks normal. She doesn't use all this extra crazy vocabulary, things like that. Like, I had to underline and write so much when, especially, what's his name? Sir Denham. He would just I was annotating the crap out of his sections because I was having to figure out what these words mean. He was definitely trying too hard. Whatever the male version of a pick-me is pick-me. But so far, I've really enjoyed it. Again, I was very sad that we get a glimpse of what could be, and then it's the end. Which my final note on the bottom was just rude. And I was looking into it saying, like, oh, how did she die? When did she die? How old was she? This woman was 41 when she passed away. 41. And it was said, it's believed that she either had Addison's disease or she had cancer of some sort. So I was wondering, maybe she wrote the sisters as hypochondriacs as a way of, like, expressing her, like, pains and illnesses. I don't know. It could be. That was my thought process. Because it was just, goodness gracious. But I really enjoyed it. I am going to start Lady Susan here in just a minute. That is a series of letters from, I'm guessing Lady Susan. Who is she writing to? She is writing to her brother, Mr. Vernon. I think she's writing to a few people. Yeah, Miss Johnson, Lady De Courcy, Miss Vernon, Miss Johnson. There's just, like, but it's quite hefty. It goes from here to here. So it is, like, a good chunk of the book. I can see myself having to look up more words, which I'm fine with. I am intrigued. Sorry, but I am going to relax for a minute. Oh, I didn't put the thing back in. Can we talk about how precious this is? It is my Pride and Prejudice bookmark. It's the same on both sides, but it has clips from the Keira Knightley version of the movie, and we love the hand flex. We love So I'm gonna put this back in the book, but I wanted to come in and let y'all know that I finished and what I thought about it and how mad I am that it was never finished. I know they made a show, but I don't have access to it because I don't have the right Amazon subscription. So I don't know. I'm gonna try and see if I can get it. If not, we'll figure something out. I will check in with y'all when I have some thoughts about Lady Susan. When I tell you I am furious at Susan, Lady Susan, I am so done with her. I started and finished Lady Susan, which is a collection of letters. It corresponds between a few characters, not just the title character, Lady Susan. It does revolve around her because she is an absolute piece of work, and is the worst human imaginable. So essentially it's her going to kind of just live with her brother. I don't know if it's her brother or like her brother-in-law, because they have the same last name. But she is widowed, so I don't know if she went back to her maiden name. It does not specify. But she is widowed. She hated her husband, was glad to see him die. And is just a miserable woman. No one can be happy. 0 people can be happy. If she's not happy, you're not happy. And that's what really pisses me off, because she has a daughter. And she hates her daughter. Like, the audacity of this woman who birthed this girl and raised her, and now says that she is unruly, she is the worst, she is uneducated, she is stupid, she is not as beautiful as me. Because, yeah, that makes sense, because you're the one that raised her. You're the one that did not provide her with an education until she was 15 years old. Of course she's going to be resentful that she can't read at the age of 15, and you're forcing her into a school because you're tired of her, because it wasn't until after her husband died that she sent her to this school. And so she goes to her brother or brother-in-law's house, Mr. Vernon, and is staying, and she is so meddlesome. She drops her daughter off at this school. A lot of things have been said around town about what kind of a person Susan is. And at first, when I was first reading this, I was so oh, it's just a miscommunication. Like, someone thought they saw something and they really didn't. And she's being accused of all these things, and really she's innocent. But her true colors really come out. And it really was pissing me off as I was reading. You could see my facial expressions. Hopefully you will have seen them. But I annotated so much in this, and a lot of it was me just writing ew. Like, she was having this conversation with her sister-in-law. It's further in, but like, are there really any spoilers? I don't know. But she was talking to her sister-in-law. Her sister-in-law does not like her. She does not trust her. she can see straight through her. And she says, "You must not question me, however, my dear sister," too minutely on this point, continued she, taking me affectionately by the hand. "I honestly own that there is something to conceal. Frederica makes me very unhappy." She talks so condescending to everyone she talks to. Like, and she's so vindictive. Oh my gosh. She was pissing me off. I am thoroughly upset at who she is as a person. A lot of people don't trust her. There's a love interest in the story that the sister is so worried that he's going to end up with Susan because that's her brother. And she's so worried. Like, he's been talking to her. He came initially because he was like, oh, I want to see this person I want to see who this person really is. Like, because he's the one that was like, oh, I've heard all these things about her. Like, I can't believe that you're letting her stay with you. I need to know who this person is. Like, I need to witness this for myself. And so he goes also to the house. But they form this sort of friendship instead of him, like, outright just, like, being kind of standoffish to her. And it's so stressful because it's like, dude, she's lying. She's lying to you. Like, why are you entertaining this woman? And it's just so infuriating throughout. Like, I wanted to close the book so many times, but I had to get through it. I have to get through it. I'm so glad I finished it, though. This one did have a conclusion to it, where we do get closure, unlike Sanditon, where it was quite literally left unfinished. Probably around like the 40% mark, maybe even the 30% mark was a good stopping point for what we got. But yeah, I was livid. I was thankful I didn't have to look up that many words this time, as I did with the last one, but it was still like, good God, she's so bitter. She is so full of herself. She definitely thinks she is all high and mighty, and it was pissing me off. So I still have the Watsons to read, and I will be reading that tonight. But I just wanted to get on here and express my opinion, my anger and frustration with this book.
So it is clearly bedtime. I'm tired. The dog is tired. We've been sitting and reading. It's maybe about 10 o'clock, I want to say. But I've officially finished all 3 of Jane Austen's unfinished works. I mean, the Watsons was very similar to Sanditon, but even less content. So it follows Emma Watson. She has just come back after living with her aunt for the past 14 years of her life. She's only 19, so she has quite literally lived with her aunt, been raised by her aunt, and she has come home now because her uncle has passed, and her aunt is remarrying and moving to Ireland. So she is coming back to live with her family. She's got quite a few siblings who, again, she has not seen or really heard from for the past 14 years. Hello, Coda. Hi. And she's kind of just being thrown into this society life that she's not really feeling. She is definitely not innocent persons, but she doesn't fall for the same gimmicks and things that her sisters have been falling for. The main love, the 2 main love, or 3, I guess, main love interests that could potentially be vying for Miss Emma would be Tom. Forgot his last name. It's Tom something. Musgrave. Tom Musgrave. And then there was Mr. Howard. I could not tell you his first name. It didn't give a lot of first names. And then Lord Osborne. Lord Osborne is smitten with Emma, and he wants her, but she is not playing around with how he acts, and she's like, I'm not into it. Um, I know you're tired, bud. It's okay. But as it ends, again, she didn't. This isn't like Sanditon where she was like actively working on it and then passed. She was working on this, put it to the side, and was working on other things, and they just never got back to it because she passed. So Sanditon was a little bit more fleshed out than this book was. It was only like I think 50 or 60 pages total, so it wasn't a whole lot. I did enjoy it. It was definitely a kind of brain break as compared to Miss or Lady Susan. Again, I wanted to punch Susan in the face. So, it is what it is. But we are going to go to bed. We are tired. Sir. And I will. Oh, lamp timer went off. That's okay. We will probably. I'll probably take the Thursday Murder Club to work tomorrow.
So you just need to answer one of those.
Hiya, good morning. It's like 6:30 in the morning on Monday, the 30th, and I still haven't finished either of the last two books, but that's okay because I'm going to finish them today. So because I am driving so much this morning, I found the audio for What Happens in Amsterdam, and I'm going to listen to that, and then when I get home, I'll read the Thursday Murder Club. It's not grabbing my attention like I want to, but I'm trying to give it at least to the halfway mark so I can see like what the plot twist is going to be. Because right now, I mean, it's pretty interesting. I mean, there's murder quite literally just happened, but I'm only like 16 chapters in, and they're really short chapters, so I'm not even close to halfway. I'm maybe not even a quarter of the way. So I am on my way to go get my nails done. We're gonna say goodbye to our ladies' night nails, and I think we're doing These Summer Days. I'll put the cover over here, and I will update you when I get back. But I'm gonna listen to What Happens in Amsterdam on the way there, and then during our quiet time when she's working on my nails itself, I'll listen to them there too. So I'll see y'all later. Bye. So as I talked about before, I put Thursday Murder Club on pause because I was driving and I needed an audiobook. So I picked up What Happens in Amsterdam. I picked it up last night while I was doing some chores, and probably got like 30 minutes in. But I've been listening to it since about 6:45 this morning, and it's about noon. And I am officially over the 50% mark. I think about 53% through with the book, and I'm enjoying it. the female main character is a little cringy at times, just in her like descriptions and things like that. But the male main character is definitely helping things. So this follows Danny Dorfman and Wouter. I don't know how to pronounce his full name. I think it's Wouter van Leeuwen. It's Dutch. I'm really glad that I have the audio for this because there's a lot of Dutch phrases and stuff that I would not have been able to pronounce without the audio. So, essentially, they are childhood sweethearts, kind of. He was an exchange student, and she was, the host home, and they kind of fell for each other. But then, he went back, and things didn't end very well with the two of them. So this follows their like journey, I guess. It's been 13 years, and she moves to Amsterdam to, I guess, just find something new in life. Doesn't expect to find Wouter at all. Does not expect to see him. She mentioned it like once at the very beginning, but she's like not like super whatever. However, she quite literally runs into him. And so they kind of just they talk whatever, and it's interesting. So it is a marriage of convenience story because again she is there on a work visa, but that work visa falls through. I'm only telling you this because it's what it says on the back, so I know that it's not a spoiler. But so he offers like, hey, you can marry me to get your green card while you look for a job. We can always divorce later, but I also need to be married to get the inheritance of this house that I really my grandmother gave. I'm in the will, or like I've inherited this house, but I had to be married before it's legally mine. And it just so helps that they happen to be childhood sweethearts, though briefly. So it is very interesting. We have met Wouter's family. Dani is very like closed off from her. She's not closed off, but she doesn't want to tell them everything that's going on. She talks to her sister a lot. They're very close, but she doesn't want anyone to worry about her. So she thinks, I just won't tell them. It won't be a problem. It'll be fine. But so far, it's interesting. We've met Wouter's family and we met his friends, and quite literally just finished meeting his friends. So it is interesting. I'm interested to see what the third act conflict is going to be. Yeah, I'm gonna finish this, get back to ya, and we'll see. I finished What Happens in Amsterdam. It was very cute. I enjoyed the way that it ended. That first part of the book really had me worried with her description of him because she was a little too over descriptive of how Wouter looked. Like everything was hot or whatever. But I enjoyed the way that this ended. There's a lot of reflection, a lot of like coming to terms with like what you want, kind of becoming your own person, which is what Dani really needed. I enjoyed this. I did give it a 3.5 for the beginning. It probably would have been a 4 or 4.5. But I gave it a 3.5 for the beginning. It was very sweet, very cute. I understood the third act conflict, but it was still a little frustrating, as they all are. But the way that they all handled it and communicated, which is like always key, was good. So, What Happens in Amsterdam was a 3.5. And now all I have left to finish, grab it, is the Thursday Murder Club. And again, I'm not very far in this book at all. I'm only 50 something pages in out of 351. So I still have 300 more pages to read of this book, which will be interesting to see if I can get through it. I am going to give it at least till the halfway mark because I was struggling. I was genuinely struggling. So if I can't get past, was it 175, then maybe I'll put it down. But I think once the story picks up, it'll be a little bit better. So I am going to take a little bit of a break, get some things done around the house. The dog is sniffing around on my bed, so I got to take him outside. So I'm going to go take him out. I'm going to get back into reading. Interesting. Hi. So here's the thing. I did not and probably will not finish the Thursday Murder Club. I wasn't in the right headspace, I don't think, to read this. I maybe got like maybe here. I don't know. I kind of dozed off or like zoned out whilst I was reading. So I just think it wasn't the right time. I like the premise of this. I've heard a lot of really good things. So I'm going to soft DNF this book and put it aside for now. Just for now, not forever. So, technically, I mean, I've finished. It's July 1st. I haven't read anything yet today. I'm barely getting my life together, casual. So, I'm going to soft DNF the Thursday Murder Club. But let's talk about the books that I read this month. Okay? Hold on. My physical books, I guess, because I had some ebooks that I read, but my brain's kind of all running together right now. Okay? So, do not get to this. This will be put back on the shelf until a later TBR. Which is okay. Okay, so with Gathering of Shadows by V.E. Schwab, I started this at the beginning of June, and I was really vibing with it. I cannot remember what happened for like the last, maybe like this much of the book. Couldn't tell you what happened. So I think I'm going to before I start book 3, I think I'm going to re-listen to like the last 2 hours of the audiobook, just as a refresher to see how that one ended. And kind of get a vibe, because I was enjoying this much more than book 1. This is the Shades of Magic series, I believe, is like the whole series name. But this is book 2. So I'm gonna re-listen to the last 2-ish hours on the audiobook that I have on my phone, just to refresh my brain before I go into book 3. Okay. There we go. We get into Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix. I loved. What did I rate it? Let me get my handy dandy little journal here. Okay. Oh, I went too far. So Order of the Phoenix, I gave a 4 out of 5 stars. I remember getting so angry with, what was her name? Umbridge. She was pissing me off because, as a teacher, a lot of the things that's happening in this book are unfortunately happening right now with the whole government crap. So I feel like I would have a very different perspective of this if I was a student than I am now as a teacher. Because I was getting angry at this book the whole time. I did a mixture of listening and reading to it, and of reading and listening to it, and I enjoyed it. So again, this is when it's Lady Umbridge, right? Right. I think I gotta be. The Ministry of Magic was pushing their noses into business they didn't need to be put in. So I gave this 4 out of 5 stars. I enjoyed it. And I'm almost done with the series. I only have 2 more books left. All right, then we have The Handmaid's Tale. Also a little reminiscent. What did I give this one? I think I gave it a 4. Right? Did I not write it down? That makes me sad. Surely I would have written that one down. I don't remember what I rated this on Goodreads. It was high enough. I wasn't a huge fan of like the way it ended. I was kind of expecting something different, but this was very good. And I think I may try watching the show. I don't know. But another instance of government control and government overreach and all that jazz. Not bad, but enjoyed. I want to say I probably gave it a 4. Then we have Love and the Time of Serial Killers, which I read in this video, and 5 stars. I enjoyed this so much. Did I write? I wrote this one down. I know I did. Yes, I gave it a 5 star. It was very sweet. There were some instances where I was a little like, but overall, like nothing to knock it down from a 5. It was a full vibe. I read it in like 2 sittings, all on the same day. I thoroughly enjoyed it. True crime, but not true crime. She's in love with true crime. She thinks people around her are murderers. They're not. But like valid arguments. Meeting someone for the first time at 2 o'clock in the morning. Kind of suspicious. I don't know. But I really enjoyed this. This was a whole vibe. I look forward to reading more from Miss Alicia Thompson. Okay, let's see. Next is Sanditon and Other Tales by Jane Austen. I had so much fun reading this. I did have to take, I think, 2 days to read this because, or 2 or 3 days to read this because it was more dense because of the vocabulary. I loved this so much. I think I gave it a whole 4 out of 5. If I was just rating it based off of that second story, Lady Susan, it probably would have been much lower because I was getting so infuriated. But I had to look up a lot, and I was really glad that I read this. I am slowly working my way through her collection. I think I have like 3 or 4 more books left that will definitely be finished before this year is up. But I really enjoyed this. And then the last one that I finished was What Happens in Amsterdam, and I believe I gave this a 3. Yeah, a 3.5. She was a little cringe. He was great. I liked the premise of the story: marriage of convenience, childhood friends, reconnecting, second chance romance. All the tropes are all here. It was spicy, spicier than I expected. Um, you know, it is what it is. But I gave this a 3.5 for the cringe factor of the female main character. Yeah. And then, of course, I did not finish Thursday Murder Club. Again, this was a soft DNF. We will get to it when we get to it. But I do want to talk about some of the books that I did finish elsewhere. So I read Clytemnestra. This heartbreaking. I gave it a 5 out of 5. It's like a Circe and Song of Achilles vibe, where it's like a retelling or like going into the life of one person that's not the main focus of Greek mythology, literature, things like that. I enjoyed this so much. Clytemnestra broke my heart. Then we read The Night in Its Moon by Piper CJ. This is book 1. I think there's 3 books. I have 2 of them. I gave this a 4 out of 5. This follows 2 girls who are kind of like almost fated to be with each other through circumstances. They end up at the same orphanage. They get split apart. They're working on getting their way back to each other. A lot of magical things are revealed. They are quite literally night and day. So it's going to be interesting to see how they continue the story because the way that it ended, it led it to a good book too. And then I also read Too Hot to Handle, um, little romance by Tessa Bailey. Um, I read this in one sitting. It was fantastic. I did give it a 3.5 because it was too quick. It was all within a week, and they were expressing their love for each other. It was a little too insta love. I mean, they did like it's not like they're gonna stay together forever. We don't know because this is book one of like four or five that follow like this group of siblings. But it was interesting. I liked the premise. I liked the revelations that she came to. Um, it was a joy to read. I did have fun whilst reading it. I mean, again, I read it in one sitting. So it is what it is. So I was pretty much able to finish my TBR. There are some books. I did finish a Willow Winter series, The All He'll Ever Be. Um, that was on Hoopla. I read it like an ebook. And it was all four books in one, but I'm counting it as four books because duh. Why not? It's technically four books. It was just printed into one. So I want to say I gave that whole series like a total of maybe like a 2.5 or a 3. I like the dark romance vibe. I was just not a huge fan of the aggression. Very, very much mafia, like very much like cool, got it, you're mine. But I think I'm getting out of my dark mafia romance phase because it just felt ick to me. That's why I think it's gonna be a 2.5 for the whole series. So that's four other books. Got 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So I think I read 13 books, 13 and a half, if you count the half of Thursday Murder Club, which is a really good month for me, especially because in May I maybe read like 2 books. So it was very enjoyable. I really liked it. So I am going to get this edited and up to you. It is July 1st. Hopefully you're seeing this on July 1st. Um, I look forward to hearing from you. What books do you think I should read? What series do you think I would be interested in based on like the vibes of what I've rated these? I have some things coming up, working on a few things. Um, yeah, I'm excited to keep reading. I'm hitting my groove. I'm not in a slump. I was afraid I was going to be in a slump after trying to finish 4 books in one week, but that's not the case. I am still like ready to go, ready to read some more books. I'm excited to read, which is exciting to me. Like I like the excitement of reading. But I am gonna go, and I hope that you have a wonderful day, a wonderful week, a wonderful like life. Um, as always, let me know if there's anything that you want to see, and I will get that in my books.